What's up, folks? How you doing out there? Welcome to impromptu commentary from your boy Lee Black, the host of Real Talk for Real Men. As Stephen A. Smith would always say on First Take, holla at your boy. But anyway, I hope everybody is having a great day. We are on the precipice of a holiday weekend. And so wherever you are, I hope you're in a great position to celebrate this 4th of July. And so if you don't know, this is your first time checking me out, whether live or coming to see me after the fact, I am an opinionated SOB. This is what I do. And even though my actual show, Real Talk for Real Men, is on a month break for the summer, I am doing impromptu touching ends as I tend to do. And I see I got one of my super viewers, super fan, grown woman, don't try me. So she says, I was waiting for your review. You know I had to do it, Miss CC. You already know. And what's crazy is I had no real intention of going live this early. I was hoping to do it yesterday, but as circumstances had, I didn't get an opportunity to jump on. And then guess what? I found out just not even an hour ago that I was actually off today. I showed up for work only to find out that my fat black ass was supposed to be off. So I changed clothes. And before I hit these streets, I decided, you know what? I got time today. So CC, yes, indeed. I am here to share my own unique take on the P. Diddy situation, which is what we are going to be talking about briefly, the Diddy verdict. And I'm giving my take. Let me state right from the gate. Let me state from the jump. The views that I share, they belong to Lee Black, myself, and myself alone. They do not necessarily reflect those of the family and the participants on my show. So don't associate what you're about to hear with the other members that show up regularly on my platform. These are my views. I'm owning them 100%. So let's get to it. In case you're living under a rock, the verdict came in yesterday for the long-awaited P. Diddy trial, the sex trafficking trial. So it was a mixed verdict. In case anybody who doesn't know, he was actually found guilty on 2 of the 5 charges. That was transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, it's still serious because each of these counts carries a maximum sentence of 10 years. So ultimately, he could spend up to 20 years of his life in jail. The most important thing is that he was acquitted of the most serious of those charges, which was the 1 count of racketeering conspiracy and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. So what are we talking about here, folks? The federal government, when they arrested this man with all the fanfare that you could muster on CNN and every channel, and they raided his home, and you saw him carrying out boxes and this, that, and the other. Well, there were multiple charges levied against Sean P. Diddy Combs. In fact, they crucified this man in public long before the trial ever started. And over the last 2 months, we as witnesses, not jurors, but witnesses, we've sat in anticipation of waiting to hear all of the heinous things that Sean P. Diddy Combs did. Before the trial ever started, we heard allegations that he was fucking dudes and holding people hostage. And I mean, this was just a monstrous person. In many ways, he made R. Kelly look like a saint somewhat. And then the trial started, folks. And without rehashing all of that, because you're welcome to look at that on your own, for me, the only thing I found out honestly that Puffy is a freak, something I already imagined. Did any of us in our right mind ever think that P. Diddy's infamous parties they was in there playing Yahtzee, and that this was some celebrity family feud type environment, and that maybe they were sitting around a pool? If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. He has made a living off of being the ultimate showman. His parties were legendary. And I always imagined that for rich celebrities, this was an opportunity for them to fuck at the highest level. to do drugs at the highest level, to freak at the highest level. And through this trial, they have demonized the word freak off, demonized baby lotion, and somehow made it horrific for two grown consenting adults to fuck. Because at the end of the day, that's all we learned. If anything, we learned, and something that I've been saying for as long as I've had my platform, but for those who know me, I've been saying it for the past 30 years, the nastiest, freakiest bitches out there is the so-called pretty girls. Anybody who knows me and follows my platform, and I talk ad nauseum about my experiences, Sean P. Diddy Combs did very little that I haven't already done. So for those of you who fuck with me, if he's such a monster, you probably would not enjoy my company. Because fucking multiple women and, kicking it and partying, I've done all of that. Freely admit that and don't run from that. And I have never been rich, famous, popular, or fucking super attractive. I'm just a regular dude out here. And I did it at the level that my finances and circumstances allowed me to do it. So the idea that he was able to have these freak offs in different hotels in different cities, the man was damn near a billionaire. And so all we really found out was that he had a certain brand of freakiness that he liked to do. But I'm not going to even rehash that. Let's get into it. Personally, I am happy as all get out. I literally danced a jig to find out yesterday that he was acquitted of the most serious of these charges, because I truly do not believe the federal government met its burden to prove guilt. I thought they overstepped their boundaries from the very beginning when they brought up racketeering and RICO charges, because they have started to use this type of prosecution. And if you notice, only against rappers. They're only using this against black rappers. Let me be even more specific. We had a famous case of this right here in Atlanta with the YSL trial, where they locked this young man up, the rapper, held him for damn near a year before the trial even started, ultimately for him to be walking free too. And so the federal government has turned this RICO statute into a modern day witch hunt. And it's an extension of the bullshit Me Too movement, that which everybody who knows me know I can't stand it. It is one of the worst things that could ever happen to society. And what makes it particularly disgusting is that we as black people, we have embraced it and applied it to cannibalize our own. Folks, let me be clear. This Me Too movement, it has hurt more black moguls than anybody else, because you don't see that same standard being applied to other counterparts. But we as a people, we are the first to jump on a bandwagon to demonize our own while standing innocently by and saying nothing when it's somebody else. And so I'm truly happy that P. Diddy is not facing the worst case scenario, and he still may do some time, and I believe he will. But let's get to the how people feel about it. So I'm going to read some comments here, because obviously here we are a day removed from it, and many people have something to say on it. Some are famous, and I believe in putting names to this. So let's talk about what some people said. Kesha, whoever the fuck this bitch is, I guess she sings or something like that, because she was embroiled in a years-long legal battle with music producer Dr. Luke, where she accused him of drugging and raping her. So of course you can expect what her reaction is going to be. She wrote, "Cassie, I believe you. I love you. Your strength is a beacon for every survivor." Okay. Once again, shout out to the fucked up Me Too campaign. Actor Mariska Hargitay, who is on Law and Order, been there the longest, the main lead character there. She wrote, "We won't forget what we saw you did to Cassie on that video." So, of course, she said, "It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that." No, I'm attributing that the wrong way. I'm sorry. She went on to say, Combs joins a long line of powerful and famous men who have allegedly engaged in abuse, yet face minimal consequences. So you know what? I respect the verbiage of what you put there, Mariska, and how you put it. And there's probably going to be some truth to that. Except in this instance, in my opinion, I don't believe he belonged on that list. Did he whoop her ass? No doubt about it. But if we're going to sit here and pretend that he's a monster because he whooped a woman's ass, it is 1:26 p.m. There's 100 bitches getting clapped upside their head right now, and you don't hear us yelling for them to be incarcerated for the rest of their life. So we need to stop acting like men don't beat women. And oh, by the way, this is not a black thing. Black men aren't the only men who beat women. This happens in every race. Oh, and let's go to where we never talk about the hypocrisy. There are men being abused too. But when it's on the shoe's on the other foot, we don't call that abuse. It's always a woman defending herself. But are we going to sit here and honestly act like we don't see video after video after video of women now in 2025 actually being the aggressor, being more violent than men? Stop it, folks. I got a fucking bridge to sell you. So if Combs joins that long line of lists, then there are women that need to be on that list too. So let's keep it fucking fair, Mariska. Aubrey O'Day, who was once signed to the Bad Boy record label, of course, this bitch has got sour grapes because you didn't have any fucking talent. She's a white girl who thought she can suck and fuck her way to fame, and ultimately, you are who you are. She said, oh, this makes me physically ill. Cassie probably feels so horrible, I'm going to vomit. Well, bitch, go vomit then, and vomit on your own fucking shoes because, of course, you have an axe to grind, you no talent bitch you. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. She went on to say, I'm still unpacking the magnitude of it all. The cultural weight of this decision is immeasurable. I'm not even going to read the best because you're an insignificant fucking liar and fuck you. And I don't believe anything that come out your mouth. You've been out to get him for a long time because you pissed that you don't have anything to stand on. You didn't have a career. You wanted your publishing. He don't owe you anything. Where is it written now in 2025 that these producers have to go back and retroactively give you your publishing when at the time, if you wasn't smart enough to make the right deal, then nobody owes you shit. Deal with it, you angry bitch. Rosie O'Donnell, we all know who she is, this fat lesbian bitch talking about, I guess a jury just never wants to believe that a woman stays because of power and coercion. Wow. They just think women stay because what? Money, fame, they love the abuse? What a fucking joke. This decision got me angry. Hashtag Cassie. Well, of course that would come from a carpet munching bitch who has hated dick ever since it produced your ugly fat ass. And so your words don't carry any value anyway. Bitch, go put your head down some other bitch's pussy and asshole and go about your life, you insignificant bitch. This is the same bitch that always has an axe to grind about everything, and she revert everything to a fucking lesbian cause. And I'm not saying I have anything against lesbians, but this is the worst kind of fucking lesbian because she can only see through the prism of her own fucking sexual choices. You fat bitch. Actress Evan Rachel Wood said there is no consent in a domestic violence relationship, period. Once the threat of violence is there, you comply. You do not consent. It is self-preservation and survival. It is not freely or willingly given. It is forced and coerced out of you. We clearly have a long way to go in our understanding of this. The only part that I truly agree with, Evan Rachel Wood, is your very last statement. We have a long way to go to understand consent. Because this blanket notion that no means no, I've never fully agreed with it. Now, let me be clear. I am not in any way advocating that a woman does not have the right to say no, stop. But folks, let's put this bullshit under the microscope now. Because using that as a blanket excuse, we are eliminating the mitigating circumstances that you could create by your own actions. Because you want to tell me based on that there is no consent in domestic. No. There's a reason to fucking fight anybody. If a child hits me, I have the right to hit that little motherfucker back. You don't get to live on being a weaker vessel in sex and hit me and I can't hit you back. So this is a blanket statement here. And you do not consent to self-preservation. No, wait a minute now. So you want to tell me that when a woman, I'm using this as an example now, that you come, you drink my drink, smoke my smoke, show up at 3 a.m. over here, dance suggestively, suck some dick, take your musty drawers off, and then at some point, the clarity hits you that, no, stop. No. Now, I'm not saying I would rape you, but I'm saying you have created an environment that you put yourself in by your own actions that it is entirely believable that that person says, keep going. I would not do it. Let me be clear. I don't even want drunk pussy. But this blanket notion that you can stop whenever, even if you no. And Chris Rock made a joke one time where he said, no, Dave Chappelle attributed this to him. He said that if a woman goes out and her titties is popping all out and you can see a pussy in her ass and everything, and a man comes up, I'm paraphrasing here, and asks for some pussy, and she goes, oh my God, just because I dress like a hoe don't make me a hoe. Well, bitch, you have on a hoe attire. And so it's entirely reasonable to assume that that's what you want to do. And so we playing semantics here. So when I hear women make those statements like that, you're not taking in consideration sometimes that you are the fucking problem creating that environment. And this goes for all of you bitches that go on the couch, so to speak, that when you want the role, you're willing to tell them, I'll do whatever. And you show up at this person's house late at night with the expectation, but after you got the role, you don't say anything. This is my problem with Me Too. If you truly are attacked and you truly are being violated, why the fuck would you not then go somewhere and tell authorities? But what I don't agree with is you get to sit on that shit for years and in many cases benefit from it. You get the role, you get the movie. RB Day, you was on his label. He paid for everything. You got to travel around and get a life of a singer. But just because your career didn't blossom the way you think it should, and now here we are 15 years later, and you some dried up old has-been bitch, now you want to go back and retroactively punish somebody because now they took advantage of you. Fuck you. Fuck you. So I don't believe in that shit. Christina Ricci, another actress, is talking about sending so much love and respect to Cassie today. She is an inspiration and hero, and I stand with her. I could keep going, but I want to stop with that one. Is Cassie a hero? If Cassie is a hero, we really have lost our way as a country. Folks, let's put Cassie under the microscope. Cassie stayed in a relationship with P. Diddy for 10 years. I dare most of you to tell me 2 songs that Cassie has that are worthy of her being a star. And I bring that up because she didn't have any real talent. She didn't have any real talent. So it became more beneficial for her to be the girlfriend. And nobody's denying that she's pretty. I think she's very attractive. Now, once she got a seed in that pussy, I lost all interest. That's just me. I don't find pregnant women attractive, but that's just me. But prior to her being pregnant, I thought she was beautiful. Why am I bringing that up? If you look at what was revealed through the course of this trial, 90% of the freak-offs that happened, she orchestrated. And there's a reason why the jury didn't find that he committed any heinous crime, because you can't for years be the one that initiates the freak-offs. You literally interviewed the dudes you was going to suck and fuck. when they came to the mansion. So even these sex people, they didn't show up in some fucking cave, blacked out windows. They showed up at high-end hotel rooms and mansions where P. Diddy, by your own account, stood in the background. You was the one who said, well, you weren't called here for this and that. You explained what the situation was, and you set the tone. You set the terms. They agreed to it. And in many cases, these sex workers, whatever you want to call them, they didn't have one-time sessions with you. This shit went on multiple sessions, and in some cases, for years. Happened in multiple cities. You were lavish with gifts, trips, yachts, this, that, and the other. At one point during the 10-year period, you even took a boyfriend and Kid Cudi. And behind his back was still voluntarily fucking Puffy at your request. But bitches like Christina Ricci and other actresses say you're a hero. You've done something so miraculously and strong because you stood up for victims. Where? When? All you proved, Cassie, is what I've been saying all along. The nastiest, filthiest, no good bitches is the ones who look like you. This notion that it's the plain Jane, ordinary, average-looking women are the ones that are doing the worst things. I've been telling people this for over 30 years. When I tell people all the nasty, no good bitches I fucked, they look at this fat old man here and assume that I must be talking about bitches with no teeth, no job, no car. Folks, I got news for you. Those chicks who work at Church's Chicken and Sally's Beauty Shop and whatnot, they the ones give you trouble. It's the bitches that look like Cassie that willingly, openly, voluntarily, and aggressively will let me stuff myself clear down the back of their fucking throat and squeeze every last drop of cum down their gutter fucking throats. Teachers, lawyers. The best car I've ever driven in my life is a Nissan. The bitches I'm talking about is the ones who already had better houses than me. I've lived in apartments in most cases when I was out there. I'm talking about bitches with Cadillacs, with fucking Mercedes Benzes. They didn't come to fuck with me because I could do anything for them materially. They came because they were some nasty bitches and they liked it the way they liked it. Yes, choking, slamming. Folks, all Cassie was a willing participant. And the idea that some of you bitches are calling her a hero, you really need a better role model. That tells me a lot about your own fucking life. A hero where? She is an inspiration and a hero. The only thing she's been heroic at is getting that motherfucking bag. And if you followed this trial closely, her own admission, and the jurors saw through this, was that she didn't get angry until she recognized after 10 years in a relationship, she would never be looked at the same status as Kim Porter. And she was truly angry because P. Diddy had started to buy things for Young Miami after the fact. It came through in the course of this trial that she approached him and demanded money. Otherwise, she was going to tell her story. When he refused, that's when the video was released, folks. And oh, by the way, she got $20 million from Puffy and another $10 million from the hotel. So her and her husband, Mr. Alex Vaughn, who also spoke bravely about how his wife is a hero and this, that, and the other. Look, the only reason you stay in Alex is because you are not about to walk away from a $30 million and you done put seeds in this bitch. You're a fucking gold digger just like she is. But the truth of the matter is, your wife is a no good hoe. She's a fucking bitch. You know it, I know it, and the jury knew it. In essence, they told her, you got paid, time served, you got your ass beat. This bitch is no different than a Rodney King or somebody. She deserved to get some money for getting her ass beat. And I don't think she deserved $30 million worth, but good for you. Bravo. You got the bag. But you were angry that when you looked up and after 10 years of being with this man and doing the filthiest, nastiest things, you had nothing to show for it. No career, no catalog. He didn't even give you any children so you can live off of. So you saw an opportunity to take advantage of this, and lo and behold, you got paid. But don't you fucking dare tell me that this bitch is some kind of hero and she's some epitome of womanhood and courage and this, that, and the other. Don't you dare tell me that. Folks, it's time we end this fucking national nightmare that we call the Me Too movement. There's a couple of people that spoke out in P. Diddy's behalf, one of which I'll highlight and give shout out to is Lil Boosie. He was there from the beginning. He's also supported R. Kelly. And when I say support these people, I don't mean that he in any way said that he was okay with him beating Cassie, or okay with R. Kelly taking advantage of children and whatnot. He spoke of R. Kelly the way I do, that he can separate the man from his music. And so I'm never going to mute R. Kelly, and he was never going to mute P. Diddy. Also, Lil Boosie said that what he's done is done in a normal way by athletes, actors, sports people. That's the way it is. We don't say that when Leonardo DiCaprio brings in bitches from Italy and they're 17 and 18 years old. But when P. Diddy does it, we cannibalize him. And I love that Lil Boosie is standing up and standing on principles. Tiny Harris also spoke on his behalf. Young Money posted something saying, basically praising that, the angels were looking out for him. And so there are just a handful of people that are speaking up. But you know what the shame comes in? That all of those people, those sycophants who hung with Diddy for years, I'm talking about traveled with him, helped him spend his money, went to his white parties. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Jay-Z. I'm talking about a lot of you actors and actresses, Oprah Winfrey's, because folks, anybody and everybody partied with Diddy. The who's who. People way more powerful than him, and nobody stepped up and spoke in his behalf. And he found out a lesson that he should have learned a long, long time ago. You don't have friends, dude. Not in that life. I hope whatever happens for you, Sean, when you get out, whatever time you have to serve, and whatever time you have left, embrace your family, have a small circle of friends you run with, because me and my road dogs who have done our dirt, we always had one simple rule. You ain't gonna tell on yourself. So when you're gonna do some shit, do it alone. But if you do it with somebody else, make sure that's a true ride or die. Make sure that person has just as much to lose as you do. Because you found out, Diddy, that people that you probably would have swore would have left your side, people you've been knowing for years, ex-girlfriends like J-Lo, homeboys from your state like Jay-Z, and people that have been riding and rolling with you for years didn't speak up in your behalf. You found out that all the money, all the power, and all the fame does not make you exempt from getting fucked over. And I hope this is a lesson that you don't have to pay for too long or too many years for your life. You've also recognized and realized, I hope, that notion of how powerful you are when you climb the pedestal, they can tear you down just as quick. Your net worth was at one time projected to be over $1 billion. It was more realistically in the 700 or 800 million range. And as of probably now, you're probably back down to maybe 300-400 million. And I say that like it's a bad thing. You still have enough money, Diddy, to generational wealth to not have to ever work again. You'll never get your name back. So you can hang that up. I hope for you and for your sake that when you get out, you're able to move forward, Surround yourself with a small group of family or friends that truly give a fuck about you, having learned your lesson. And my God, the last thing I'll say is, if I hope you're like me, I hope you are petty and as vengeful as I would be, because once you get free, I hope you have a tell-all in you. I hope that some way you have squired away tapes, journals, pictures of all the shit that happened there. And if I was you, I would bring the whole motherfucking house of cards down. I would rain holy hell on the Oprahs, the Jay-Z's, the preachers, ministers, doc, whoever partied with you and didn't come forward. I would rain holy hell, so that if for the rest of my life, people are going to look upside my head as the diddler and this, that, and the other, I would change the narrative so that when you look at J-Lo, you see a different person. When you look at Oprah, you see a different side of her. When you think of Jay-Z and Beyonce, you see what they're really like behind closed doors. 50 Cent, you are famous for trolling. Diddy, if you got anything out there, I would come for everybody with both barrels blazing, and I would bring the whole fucking house of cards down. Yes, I would. And that lying bitch that got $30 million, I would have her own mama looking at her like, I never knew you, you nasty bitch. Let me close out by acknowledging a couple of comments in the section. I appreciate anybody popping in to check me out. My other super fan, Toria, says, damn, I'm going to have to rewind. I did not know you were live. Yeah, Miss Toria, I found out that I was actually off today. So I said, you know what? I got time today. Toria says, victims don't need immunity. They need protective orders. Those women were there because they wanted to. Cassie had 30 million. She's no victim. She was freaking before him. All he did was watch. Amen. Amen. Grown woman, don't try me, sis. And they knew that you would give it to them. Yes, I did. I'm giving my take. Toria says, plus, I'm tired of hearing Southern District has 99.9% conviction record. No dummies. They are plea deals, and they never go to court because like this, overcharged and they don't have the goods. You are 1,000% correct. And I was happy to see Diddy's lawyers vehemently speak to this, that just because the federal government charges you, that doesn't mean you're guilty, folks. And so we got to stop looking at, oh my gosh, the feds come for you, and that automatically means that the person must be guilty. His lawyers even said that with that same fervor that you raided his house and took boxes, where are you now proclaiming that he was innocent? Because it doesn't work that way, folks. And we as Black people got to stop fucking believing that just because they say there's 7 charges against you, that's what the government does. And in this country, we have a criminal system that you have to prove that that person is guilty. And the system is fucked up because while this man endured a witch hunt, we just so happen to have a convicted felon sitting on our fucking throne as the president of the United States. But here's where I give Donald Trump, and I applaud him, because he uses the system to his advantage. Even once convicted, he has been convicted of 34 felonies. It didn't stop him from running for president. He embraced it wholeheartedly, and he said, I'm the victim. And in many ways, he was able to get the American public to buy into that he was unlawfully prosecuted. They've been going after him forever. But if we can have that type of sympathy, why don't we have that for our own people? Because last time I checked, it wasn't only white people that put Donald Trump in office. It was us. It was Latinos. And it was women. Folks, so how can you have that level of hypocrisy? So I love what you said, Ms. Toria, that no, he did beat the feds. And even 50 Cent in his jokingly, he said that Puffy's a bad man because he beat the feds. He had the financial means and the wherewithal and the staying power to endure that and say, no, I'm going to fight you. And he fucking won. Tori says, yesterday, Lee Timberland And like 8 more rappers came to court to see him yesterday. The defense did not want none of the industry people at the court. His defense team just wanted family there. Where clearly they were smart and strategic in what they did. And I love how they spoke up for him. And they strongly advocated. And I love what they said. If you haven't watched it, go back and look at what his defense attorneys have said. And Cassie is nobody's hero. The federal government overreached, and they abused their power, and they continue to do so. And it's time to stop this fucking madness, because just because the federal government comes for you, if you got the means, fight it. The only reason I truly believe R. Kelly still sits in prison, financially, he wasn't able to afford it. Bill Cosby is one of my heroes, because when he faced it, he could have gone free. People don't know. He refused to acknowledge guilt, and he did the time, all the while used his financial means to fight until he's sitting here free man. And whatever else you want to think about Bill Cosby, his legacy is never going to be stomped on. The Cosby Show is one of the greatest sitcoms ever. It revitalized the entire fucking industry. And I'm glad Mr. William Cosby and him and his wife Camille are somewhere right now eating the best of foods under some cool air and enjoying their holiday. I hate that they didn't release Diddy. Shame on you, Judge, for succumbing to the public pressure of not releasing that man, of having Cassie and other talking about he's a danger to society. So the 2 charges that your system said he's actually guilty of, which is prostitution, but you're going to still hold him in prison as a danger. Prostitution, last time I checked, folks, is the oldest profession. I'm sure when Eve got her musty ass put out of the garden at some point to get food and rocks and shit, she probably sold a little pussy. That's how old prostitution goes back. Even her fucking children was selling that pussy. They was getting paid rocks and beans for it. But you want to tell me that this man is a danger to society because of prostitution? Every fucking major city in the country and in the world, for that matter, has a fucking red light district. I can go somewhere right now at 1:53 p.m. and buy me a piece of pussy in broad daylight. So how does that make me a danger to society? So this man is too dangerous because your jury convicted him of prostitution. Meanwhile, the prostitution you're alluding to was where Cassie orchestrated paying men that she chose to fuck multiple times and in some cases for years, but he somehow is the danger. Last time I checked, this bitch got 30 million now. How do you know right now her and her husband, Alec Fine, don't have a couple of men right now that's stuffing themselves down her fucking throat and they're paying them for it? Because clearly this bitch likes dick. Anyway, I've said my piece. I'm getting ready to go out into these streets of Atlanta since I got the rest of the day and get my motherfucking drink on, get my groove on, and place these eyes on some of these nasty, no good bitches out here today. Run a couple of errands, turn a couple of corners, and start my early weekend. I went far over I was planning to go, but I have said my say. I'm happy that P. Diddy was found guilty on the most horrific crimes. I pray and hope that this man is set free. I hope his time served for him. You've punished him enough. You've ruined his name. You've cost him money. You've cost his reputation. Let that man go home. And by the way, stop the fucking madness with this Me Too bullshit. And you women, don't you dare call this lying, whoring bitch some inspiration and some hero. She's a fucking hoe like many of these bitches are out here. She got paid for it. And so shame on you that if you're hailing her as some hero. Now, I can go back to my world. I am Lee Black. Toria, she said I'm off the money. Yeah, I will see you guys again on TFG tonight with Brenton Haynes, where my venom will be still spitting fire about this fucking trial if I need to be. Once again, I'm Lee Black. These are my opinions. God bless America. Everybody have a great holiday weekend. Peace.